God's blessings to everyone. This is a DGHradio.com news update for the United States Virgin Islands, and I'm reporter DKS, reporting the news covering the latest developments from across the territory. Public safety and governance lead tonight. Senators are intensifying scrutiny of conditions in Virgin Islands public schools after a series of inspections and hearings revealed unsafe environments and years of deferred maintenance. Lawmakers said the status quo, leaks, mold, failing air systems, and finger pointing between agencies cannot continue. They're pushing for structural changes that put maintenance staff closer to campuses and streamline purchasing so small fixes don't wait months. A major modernization of 2 schools is slated to begin early next year, but the legislature wants immediate action to stabilize classrooms now. The message was clear. Students and teachers cannot be expected to perform in buildings that send a daily signal of neglect. Related to academics, a separate education hearing focused on the long-promised standalone course in Virgin Islands and Caribbean history. Officials acknowledged that high schools are still not delivering the requirement, citing teacher shortages, crowded graduation schedules, and incomplete materials. Lawmakers urged the Department and Board of Education to resolve credit hour conflicts and accelerate recruitment of qualified instructors. The goal is not just compliance with an old mandate, it's cultural literacy. Without it, another class will graduate without understanding the history that shapes land rights, economics, and self-government in these islands. Staying with safety and education, authorities on St. Thomas are investigating a wave of bomb threats that disrupted multiple campuses this week. Police say all affected schools were cleared in coordination with federal partners, but the threats drained resources and rattled students and staff. The police commissioner warned that those responsible will be found and prosecuted. Education leaders emphasized that learning environments must be protected and urged the community to report any suspicious behavior immediately. The priority now is restoring a sense of normalcy while the investigation progresses. Power and utilities. The Water and Power Authority has announced 2 significant operations. First, engineers will conduct an emergency controlled shutdown of the liquefied petroleum gas terminal at the Randolph-Harley Power Plant on St. Thomas to complete critical fuel system repairs. The work is scheduled for a defined overnight window, with the authority preparing diesel capacity and cautioning that rotating outages could occur if demand outpaces supply. Second, on St. Croix, WAPA has scheduled a planned service interruption on Sunday to continue undergrounding work along Queen Mary Highway. Feeders will be de-energized in phases, with affected customers advised to plan for temporary up to 3-hour interruptions. Both actions are framed as safety-first steps toward grid reliability, even if the short-term inconvenience is frustrating. Marine and weather conditions remain a watch item. The National Hurricane Center expects no cyclone development in the Atlantic during the next week, pointing to a quiet close to the 2025 season. Still, a north-northwesterly swell is kicking up rough seas and a high rip current risk along north-facing beaches. Small craft should use caution, and beachgoers are advised to stay out of the water where rip current alerts are posted. Fair weather over land is expected, but coastal hazards persist until the swell eases. Community and veterans. The territory marked Veterans Day with parades and tributes across the islands. In Christiansted, marching bands and youth programs led a procession to the D.C. Kanagata Recreational Complex, while St. Thomas and St. John held their ceremonies along the waterfront and in a joint commemoration. The day highlighted service across generations and underscored the need to support veterans year-round with healthcare access, jobs, and housing, not just at ceremonial moments. A companion ceremony featured veterans sharing personal accounts of service, from logistics and instruction to deployments abroad, and the challenges of transition back home. Speakers emphasized resilience, mentorship for youth, and the importance of follow-through on medical and benefit support. The stories connected global conflicts to the everyday life of Virgin Islanders, reminding the community that names carved into memorials are neighbors and family. Economy, education, and culture. The University of the Virgin Islands teamed up with tourism officials for a Wow Wednesday showcase that turned campus into a mini festival. Students met employers, explored internships, and saw how hospitality, marketing, marine operations, and cultural preservation intersect with the territory's largest private sector engine. Organizers stress that tourism careers can be leadership tracks, not just seasonal jobs, and that cultural authenticity and environmental care are competitive advantages. Conservation and tourism blended on St. John as the Friends of Virgin Islands National Park opened bidding for this year's Villas for the Park auction. 30 donated stays across St. John, St. Thomas, and St. Croix will raise funds for sea turtle protection, trail work, youth programs, and reef stewardship. The model flips vacation nights into preservation dollars, an example of how the visitor economy can be harnessed to protect the natural assets it depends on. Sports. The USVI women's national basketball team is in Georgetown, Guyana, competing in a round-robin regional qualifier through November 16th. 5 national squads, Bahamas, Jamaica, Suriname, USVI, and host Guyana, are fighting for 3 spots in next year's Centro Basket Women's Championship. The Virgin Islands roster blends veterans with emerging talent, and coaches say defense and quick transitions will be critical. Fans can follow along via official streams as the team looks to build on its recent regional successes and inspire the next generation of island athletes. Quick utility reminder for Sunday on St. Croix. Charge devices, secure generators, and switch off major appliances before restoration. On St. Thomas and St. John, during the LPG terminal repair window, conserve power and keep an eye on official alerts in case rotating outages are needed. These and other issues are of great concern within the islands. Let us know your thoughts by texting your comments to 13158981449. You can also join our WhatsApp group and get the news, weather, and other insightful information delivered right to your smartphone. To join, text JOIN to 13158981449. Please include your name in the text message. You will receive a call to verify your request. I'm your reporter, DKS, signing off for DGHradio.com. Remember, DKS and DGH, together we dream kindly, speak deeply, and give hope, because on DGHradio.com, the news never sleeps. Goodbye for now. Ciao.